What's up guys, Carmine here, and welcome to another House of the Dragon review, this time for episode 6, and of course, we got our infamous 10-year time skip, brand new characters, and a very weird decision to remove one scene in specific that would have helped humanize a fan-favorite character, yet they chose to remove it for some reason. Let's get to it. Before that, this video was brought to you by me. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and follow us on socials. All links are in the description below. So, before we get to that part, let me just say that this episode was a fairly good one. I liked it. But like I said in my non-spoiler review, it does still feel like we're missing one episode, and I can't shake that feeling that maybe, just maybe, we're moving a little too quickly. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a while back I actually answered someone's comment about how they felt the series was also going too fast and several episodes back, and I rejected that notion outright because, I don't know, like, it felt back then like we were treading some filler-esque moments, and for the most part I stand by that until this episode. I definitely agree that things have now moved way too quickly, and I'm of the mind that we probably should have had either one more episode to show the fallout from the wedding, or should have had a full 8 to 10 episodes in the past as season 1 and then started season 2 with the full-grown actresses and new characters. Because, and like I said in my non-spoiler review, this does feel like a premiere to a brand new season. That being said, I really like the new actresses. I was afraid that it'd be way too different after getting to know the younger ones so well and enjoying them so much that I wouldn't like the older ones, but I do. I think they did a fantastic job and I hope that continues on. Now, this is where I would like you guys to let me know your thoughts, but I find Rhaenyra's children very bland, and that's not a bad thing. They did a good job, but they're incredibly normal and have nothing special going on. Alicent's children, on the other hand, are perfect Targaryen characters that I argue would be, like, way more interesting than Alicent and Viserys combined. Now, I say this because we have young Aegon, who had a bit of a Homelander thing going on of him jerking off out the window, and I think they portrayed him fairly well from the book to show. People kept saying how he's the House of the Dragon's version of Joffrey, but I disagree on that. Joffrey was somewhat ambitious and a punk bitch. Aegon here isn't really like that. In fact, he's not even that ambitious to want the throne for himself until Alicent pushes him into it in this episode. We also get his brother Aemond, who I know was somewhat of a nothing this episode, but trust me, this will be a real character development moment going forward in just 2 more episodes. I'll come back to this in episode 8 or 9. Keep me to it. Their sister Helena, on the other hand, may have dragon dreams or visions, which is brand new. In the books, she's kind of a nothing character whose only purpose is to have bad things happen to her and birth out some kids, but here, it looks like they're giving her some visions, and I can't go into why I think this, and why I have this theory that she may have these visions and dreams, because it is spoiler territory, but it does have something to do with what she said this episode. And if the showrunners decide to give her character a little something extra to make her special, then I'm all for it, as long as they keep it as subtle as they have made it so far. Now, while we're on the topic of the kids, let's talk about Daemon and Laena's children. They were fine, I had no complaints, and of course, they weren't the focus of this episode like the others were, but Daemon and Laena's scenes in Pentos were the ones I disliked the most, and it's not for the reasons you think. The Laena actress was actually great, and I love her interactions with Daemon. She actually tried to make him a normal person, which was, you know, good luck with that. But my one problem with her was how she went out. We barely got any time with the character, and this was one of those moments where I wish the time skip was moved to season 2 so we could have had more episodes with her. But her decision to die through dragonfire because she didn't want to die on the birthing bed was, I don't know, it was weird, and the whole thing felt way too abrupt. And what made these scenes even worse is that throughout the episode, Daemon seems fairly distant from his daughters, and the official Game of Thrones Twitter page kind of makes this worse by tweeting out and confirming that a scene was cut of him comforting them. I don't understand why this was even removed, because the entire time it felt as though he wasn't even loving towards one of them because they didn't have a dragon, which would kind of be in line with his character, rejecting and not even respecting someone who isn't of Valyrian blood or a dragon rider. But this is his daughter. Humanizing him, especially with his family, should have been something we got to see in this episode, yet it doesn't even happen, which is such a dumb move on their part. Like, I get that he's the Charlie Sheen of the show, but even Charlie, through all the coke and hookers, loved his kids. I think. Maybe. Now, let's head back to King's Landing for a minute, because I have to give props to the Harwin Strong actor, and the character, of course, who was my favorite this episode, and I still argue that it was dumb that they didn't give him and young Rhaenyra any more scenes in the past, and I think the actors felt the same way, which is why they both went out of their way to show how much they cared about each other without exchanging much dialogue between them. The looks they give each other, and the way he acts around his sons, and the way he treats her was so good that I can almost forgive the showrunners for not giving us those much-needed scenes of them together. And yes, I understand that the main love interests for Rhaenyra in the past were Christian Cole and Daemon to some extent, but I wish we could have seen them together as friends. In the books, their relationship is only a rumor, but here it's outright confirmed, and we don't even get a moment of how much she cares about him. I would have loved to at least have seen or wanted to know if it was more than a fling, but the two actors did such a fine job of conveying so much emotion for each other without saying much that it almost wasn't needed. But I don't know, I still wanted it. But overall, I did enjoy the episode. When I first watched it Saturday night, I was very lukewarm on it, but after watching it 2 more times, it really grew on me. And I still think that we needed at least a few more episodes in the past. I know you guys are tired of hearing me say that, but it's just the truth. Maybe even waited to introduce the new actresses and characters for like late season 1 or even season 2. My personal opinion, season 1 should have had 8 episodes, all focused in the past, and then season 2 could have opened with 10, all focused in the future, but I don't know, midway through this season? I don't know, it feels off. This is not even the last time skip we'll have. A friend of mine who actually got most of the episodes before they came out even said that the time jumps felt so jarring beyond episode 5, and I can see what he's talking about. What's worse is that I really liked Laena and Harwin this episode, but the moment we're getting acquainted with them, all of a sudden they die in the very next scene, and it feels kind of cheap. In Game of Thrones, most of the characters we enjoy, we got to know them for at least more than 10 minutes before they died. Here, it's almost as though they're rushing through the storylines to start off the major focus of the show, which is the Targaryen Civil War. So, I don't know, we'll see how it all plays out. But so far, it's okay. And before we end the video, I have to give props to a friend of mine and fellow YouTuber Joker for pointing out how dumb this article from The Independent was and how the battle for the Iron Throne is pointless when everyone in House of the Dragon is evil. And props to my guy here for explaining why it's kind of dumb by saying, none of these people are good rulers, and you're not supposed to be rooting for them like it's a sports team. And he's right. Obviously, we're creatures of habit, and we can't help but root for one side or another, and even Rhaenyra does some awful things later down the line, but let's keep in mind that one of the main reasons we love this series so much is how fucked up and crazy everyone else is, which it kind of mirrors our own reality. Everyone who comes to power is either too dumb to utilize it effectively or too much of an asshole to use it for good. Sure, you have guys like Ned Stark and Jon Snow who did their best, but at the end of the day, doing your best is just not enough. Though I will say, I do understand that some people need someone to root for, and that's a shame because this episode they killed off the last 3 morally good characters in the show, so that kind of sucks. But guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please leave your thoughts down below and tell me what you thought of the episode. I may feature it in my next video. Also, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps out a lot. And be sure to check out the Game of Thrones podcast. Both Preston and I alternate uploading it between our channels, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.